Good evening, folks, and welcome to another stream of Steven's VA. This time it is the Airbus 340-600 with Stevens Virtual Airlines, and we are sitting in Sydney after the World Flight 2023. We're still here down under, and now the return flight back to Germany is at stake, and today with a very long leg westbound from Sydney, Australia to Dubai, 14 hours 6 minutes. Yeah, and before you get crazy or you're starting to sweat, no worries, we don't do the 14 hours here streaming. We just do what is necessary: preparation of the aircraft, taxi out, departing, climbing, cruising, and thereafter we're shutting down, or just even at least stop the stream, and then shortly before top of descent in Dubai we start the second part with streaming again for the landing in Dubai. Today I feel a little bit more home in this aircraft because in real life I do fly the Airbus A330, pretty similar to the A340, only two engines, but the systems are pretty much the same, or at least similar, where it's not important of 4 engines or 2 engines. Like hydraulics, you have exactly the same systems. Well, so you see we are cold and dark. I just to try to do it from the scratch, and we do today the original Airbus procedures, which we live within my company, and I think they do make very much sense, and I think it's interesting for you just to see how the original Airbus procedures work in practical. So just enjoy. So we just enter the aircraft, and first of all you get the security check. That means you see the parking brake is set, that you have the few control switches all at cutoff, the weather radar is off, the landing gear lever is down, there's the wipe is off, and first thing the CM2, the co-pilot, is doing is checking the batteries. The batteries should be at or above 25.5 volts. We have 27.8 on one, 28.1 at 2, and on the APU 28.1. That's pretty accurate, and we leave this switch at APU. Okay, so now we can switch on the batteries 1 and 2 and APU, so we don't need to have a charge cycle. That would be necessary if we would be below 25.5. So right now we do the preliminary cockpit preparation. First of all, the things the CM2 has to do, and first of all, this is the battery check, switching the batteries on. The next thing is the APU test. We have to wait until the screens are up, otherwise the APU test doesn't make any sense. Almost through. Well, Right now you see that we have only two screens, the PFD at the captain's side and the engine warning display. And this is pretty much correct because we are only on battery. So we are in the we are not in the emergency elect config. Then we would have the ND of the captain also. So we have only two screens. That means we are on battery. So we have to put on the external power, A first and then B. If we have both of them, otherwise only one. But if we have only one, you have to take it on A. Okay, so after the test cycle is finished on the other screens, we can do our APU fire test. There you go. Okay, APU fire test. So we see APU fire, we have the master caution lights on, everything works fine, and we have the red fire light and the squib discharge light. Also, everything is okay. Test passed. Next thing we do, we start with rotating the ADRAU selectors to nav to align the IRS. Okay, so much, pretty much done with the preliminary cockpit preparation from the CM2. And I don't go through every point here because we have also checked the EFB version. We checked the database cycle. This is 2311, pretty much accurate. And we have to check the tech log with default items and stuff. So we don't do it here. Otherwise it take hours until we get through. Normally you find this in the preliminary cockpit checklist also. So we just compared our EFB and all of our programs we need with the EFB with this flight, like accuracy of navigation charts and so on. We need to accept the aircraft then, and after acceptance we continue with our checklists. What we do, and this is also a part of an item in the preliminary, is to make a preliminary takeoff performance calculation, and that means that we have open our EFB and so maybe I can do it with the controller. Let's see, because with the mouse it's a little odd. You can do it, but to hit the spot is not easy. Yeah, I do it the first time in VR. Normally I do it in 2D, but today I would like to do it in the VR. Let's see if we can do it here. Okay, we have 251 passengers and we have 10 tons of freight with us. Oh, this is not correct. 10 tons of freight. So now, first of all, we have to refuel the aircraft. This is pretty tough because we have really a lot of fuel today. And for this, we open the AVI tab, make it a little smaller. Put it, oh, maybe we can put it down here. Make it a little bigger. So now we see where it is. Sydney, Dubai. Okay, so the fuel okay, so we don't have any extra with it here, but I would like to have 2 tons of extra. We don't need it really. So I would say we put in 142 tons. And this is the thing we will tell the refueler. And 42. Requested. So now, oh there, did you see the refuel truck? Oh, he was fast, unbelievable. Okay, so he's on its way to refuel the aircraft. Right now he's not connected yet, but right now you see refuel panel is open and he's connecting any second to start the refueling process. Okay, so let's see if we can continue with our preliminary cockpit takeoff performance. The fuel on board, as I said, 142 tons. The passengers are, everything is cleared again. Not funny. There you go. Okay, so now we have everything set for the performance takeoff. Reset. Takeoff weight is absolutely not correct, and the runway is also not correct. Okay, so you see this is not really not possible with this EFB because we didn't insert it in the FMC any runway. So I think I will just delay it for later and do it when we get when we have inserted the takeoff performance and the FMC, every data into the FMC, and then we can calculate that. All right, so this means that the pilot flying, or the CM1, or no, in this case, this is both the same. CM1 is the pilot flying today. He is doing the cockpit preparation. And this starts from the overhead panel on the left side, then the middle to up and from the right to the upper side. This is pretty easy. So we start here with cruise supply, ground control to switch on the cockpit voice recorder and the flight recorder. We go up and check that every circuit breaker is in, nothing is pulled. Then we go down to the middle side. The strobes to auto, enough to 1. Then the seat belts remaining off because we're still refueling. And the no smoking to auto, they are programmed to stay on the whole time. Normally we have portable devices on or off in exchange of the no smoking sign. Then we have the emergency exit signs are armed. We wait with the APU, and comes later. Standard power is already on, the battery check is done, and we see we have white lights here with the fuel pumps. But we normally, this is the time where we extinguish all white lights, but in this case we make the Airbus green procedure. That means that that the fuel pumps remain in off position until shortly before pushback. Okay, so now we wake the fire test on the engines. Okay, all red fire lights are there, discharge and squibs, everything is there. And in one fire we have the master switch, and on down there we have the red fire lights, everything, the test is okay. Maintenance panel, all lights out. And there you go with the flight recorder test. At least one green bulb is there, circuit breakers are in, so the overhead panel is done. We go down to the front instrument panel, see that every ECOM switching is correct, looked at the gravity extension, gear levers is at normal, and the skid and no switch steering is on. And during this I just check our oil quantity, 18.5 and 18.0, everything good. Hydraulics also, the amounts are sufficient for our flight, and the oxygen is also in the green band. Okay, one more thing we have to do before we continue, after we see that the RS are aligned right now with GPS primary written in the scratch pad and in the NDs. We have to check also the alternate braking. Right now we see the triple indicator is, normally we have green in the echo press and 3000 psi on the brakes. And since we have the blue hydraulic system for the brake system, we have to check the echo braking. So for this we get hydraulic clearance from the ground, and once we have this clearance, to be sure that the surfaces are not moving in any way, so this is the reason why we need clearance, we release the parking brake, and you see right now the pressure is gone. We still have green pressure on the echo, and now we have to press the pedals, and you see we have brake pressure. That means that the alternate braking, the echo braking on the blue system is working, and then we set the parking brake again. Right now you see that due to the fact that we applied the brakes and switched off and on the parking brake, we are slightly below the green band now in the echo, but we would like to have full pressure. So since we have the hydraulic clearance, we switch on the blue ilic pump and pressurize the blue system, and that means that the accumulator, and the brake press in the echo is recharged. As you see, it is in the green band again, and we can switch off the blue hydraulic pump, and the test is completed. Okay, the last one is the pedestal, also left side, middle side, and right side. The checks, we check the RMPs, and we check the weather radar again, that is switched off. We see that the speed brake lever spoilers are disarmed. Everything is fine. The door is on norm. The door is open. The middle one, ECAM switch, is correct. Thrust levers are in the detent. No reverses open. Master switches again cut off. Engine start selector is norm. And then we go on the right side. We see pilot flying is number 1, is CM1, so we have the ATC on 1. We switch the TCAS to above and look that it's standby, and here it is off, and the flap lever is in 0 position, and this corresponds to the indication in the upper ECAM in the engine warning display. So this is it with our cockpit preparation procedure, and then next is programming the FMS. For that we need our flight plan, our OFP, we have it here, and we start inserting our flight plan. Sydney to Dubai. There's the flight plan we already uploaded. We inserted the alternate is Abu Dhabi. Oscar Mike Alpha Alpha. Our flight number is Stevens 1. Passengers, we expect 251. This is for the pack flow. The cost index is 180. And the first cruise altitude is flight level 300. We see this is the average ESA is plus 12. Oh, this is very warm. This means this is minus 32 instead of 44. That's pretty warm. So we have 18 degrees in Sydney right now. The wind, we check, we upload the climb winds, and for the cruise we do the average wind, which is 271 with 17. That's it. Now we do the flight plan with the departure. Departure is 34 left. With the KDM 1 departure. Oops, where it is. KDM 1, there it is. No transition, insert, and then Dubai, runway 30 left. Oops, there you go. That's 30 left. With the Imped 3 Charlie arrival. Is this old dot? Is there something in the vicinity? Nothing. So we insert it without a transition. Then the secondary copy active. That means we make a return procedure to Sydney. New destination. Sydney arrival will be the ILS 34 left. insert. Normally you don't have an insert on the secondary, only on the active flight plan. So what we do now on the secondary, we do already, because we prepare this one for the return, and we would like to prepare everything that we have to activate it and have everything done already. So we check the actual weather, check if there's nights. I don't think so. It's early in the morning in Sydney, not really there. So we do a METAR. And there you go. Sydney 21 Zulu, that's okay, 300 with 5 knots. View scattered 19 degrees. Unit 1021. Okay, 1021 is the first thing we do here. 1021, 1021, 1021, 305 and 90 degrees. $19 degrees. 1021. Okay, next thing is that we need the airport of Sydney, because I would like to see the approach. First of all is the airport. And the approach would be the 3-4 left. And why do we open up this approach panel? First of all, that we have it handy when we return. But the second thing is the minimum to insert already. This is 220 on cut 1. So this is all done. We have a transition flight level of flight level 110. So everything is inserted already in the secondary, so we can activate it if we have an emergency. Everything is prepared and we can go right away. So next thing is we look at the 3-4 left course. This is 335, so we will make an entry in the fix info page with the runway 3-4 left and 335 radio. Why do we do this? You see, this is the extended center line we have. If we get an engine failure, and when we have an engine failure, the gear momentum of the yaw effect on the aircraft is pretty much to see, and this is a great help if you have a visible marker with the center line. It's good to maintain the center line and to maintain the corridor where you have to fly in case of an emergency, in case of engine failure, because you are not allowed to get 3 miles out of the 3-mile corridor, and this is a pretty good help to maintain within the limits. Okay, so now we did this. To program the FMC, by the way, we do with Airbus. Airbus is teaching it with the diff strip. The first is the D. This means you check the data base. This is the D, database we have checked. E, or I in this case, is the init page. We program the init page. Then the F is the flight plan. We made the flight plan. The S is the secondary flight plan. Now next is R. R is the RADNAV. So in the RADNAV we put something in which we would like to have. In this case I would like to have Sydney VOR in case of return, and we have always a good mileage to calculate our return. Disrep R. Now again we get another E. This is the init B page. In the init B page we have to put in our zero fuel weight and zero fuel weight CG and the block fuel. Let's see how our refueling process is doing. We are with 93 tons still on our way. Let's see. We don't need this. This time we need this. Loading. Okay, let's see. Loading. So we have 251, 5,000. And 5,000. Block fuel, we don't need to put in. For us it's important now 220.6. $220.6 and 23.2 and 142 is the block fuel. Alright, this is it. Now we switch to our OFP flight plan again to see our reserve fuel. Has to be the funny thing is I said I would like to have 142 tons. This is not correct. We need 152. Very strange. Okay. We can change that anytime. Alright, so this is not 142, this is 152. Block fuel. So let's see. We have 20 minutes of contingency. Alternate is 3.3. And the final reserve is 3.7. It means we have a takeoff weight of 371.6. Let's see. This is correct. Looks good. Okay. And now, the disrep, we are on the second I. Now, double P. P means progress page. Sydney 34 left is already inserted. And the performance page, this is next. And for the performance calculation, we do it with our EFB performance calculator, but we have to wait until the refueling is finished. Okay, this is done. And before we do this, the pilot monitoring is outside for the outside check. We do this for him because we have still to wait. So we go out for the external walk around. Let's see. Where is our airplane? There you go. start. Up front with the nose wheel steering and the nose wheel. Check everything we need. Lights, rubber, no gear pins inserted. Check the pitot probes, TOT probes and AOA probes. The radome. Any damages? Same on the other side. There is the two AOA probes. Okay, the cargo doors are already closed, so everything is loaded already. See the pack inlets, landing lights, leading edges of the wing. Here we check the engines. Still refueling with the Toliss fuel truck. Here's the second engine on this side. This is Stephen's plane with a World Flight badge on it still. Last week. Okay, the nav light is working. Green on the starboard side. Very important to look behind the engine. Anything visible like bird strike or whatever. Nothing in it. Same to the other engine, to number 3 engine. So wheels, also the middle bogies. Let me go back. Check the horizontal stabilizer, static dischargers, the tail, the rudder, APU outlet, inlet. Looks good. Outflow valve down there. Wheel check. Gear check. No gear pins inserted. Static discharger on this wing. Backside of the engines. Red light working. Na? Mach einen Außencheck gerade. Ich streame gerade, nur dass du Bescheid weißt. Nicht, dass hier irgendwelche kompromittierenden Dinge erzählst gleich. Ja, es tut mir leid. Es geht auch vorbei. Bist du bettfein? Oh. Stimmt. Schlaf schön. Danke, danke. Bis morgen. Okay, so we check. Last thing we check after checking also the inlets is the static ports And that is completed, so we return back to the flight deck. So right now, fueling is almost finished, 139, but we have to change it to 152. Otherwise, we fall pretty short with our fuel. You see, it's good to start with a refueling early. So this is it. Now we did the same again. This is 152, yes. Okay, the refuel trucks have to do it again, and when we finish this, we can start boarding. So I have to do some calculations for our freight and the boarding process. Let's see. Just feeding air hauler with our freight. Okay. Okay, you see?
Regulations require us to point out the safety features of this aircraft, and we would be grateful for your full attention during this demonstration. In the seat pocket, there is a safety card, which the captain would like you to read carefully before takeoff.
All right.
The emergency exits are now indicated.
Fueling is almost finished.
Your life jacket
The boarding is also completed. We accelerated a little bit now. And before I come back, I have to make a short timeout because I have to insert better pushback, and I cannot do it with the VR on, so just stand by for a minute.
It may also be inflated by blowing through the mouthpiece. Your seatbelt is fastened and adjusted as demonstrated and unfastened like this. Would you now please ensure that your seatbelt is fastened and tables closed, ready for takeoff. Thank you for your attention.
Round to cockpit. Sure you we got your plan there. Give me a call through the menu when you're ready to go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, back in business. Okay, so boarding is nearly finished. Door is still open. The final performance and load sheet is not received yet, but we are in the making. So since we have the final fuel figure in it now, okay, 52, 23.2. Let's see if this accuracy. 3.2, this is correct. Zero fuel CG. Takeoff performance. Reset. 3-4 left. So we see we have 3-4 left. The wind is okay, OTA, QNH is okay, runway is dry, the weather is great. Anti-ice we don't need, we have almost 20 degrees. 372.6, is that correct? Let's see. Yeah, this is including the taxi fuel, so the safe side, CG 27.6 is also correct. Yes. And flex config is auto and air condition we put on. Air condition is on, compute. So we do config 2 with flex 45, 168.179.184, and the THS is up with 2.9, and green dot is 268. So we have to fly faster below 100 than 250, otherwise we cannot clean up. Status is okay, and we see that we have only a stop margin of 100 meters. So this is a critical takeoff, definitely. Okay, so 168, 179. And 184. These are serious speeds. Config 2, 2.9 up. And flex 45. That's it. So, everything is inserted. And right now, come back with our EFB. Place it in here. And the departure is on the 3-4 left is the KLM 1. Let's see, KLM 1. This looks pretty good. So, okay, then we can make our takeoff briefing. And interesting enough, with Airbus, the briefing is split between the pilot monitoring and the pilot flying. Pilot monitoring is starting the briefing, and then the pilot flying is continuing. So let's do it. We start with the pilot monitoring. Okay, runway news. Today's runway 34 right. We expect the KDM 1 departure. First cleared altitude is, let's see if we can find it somewhere. Nothing said here. Is there any constraint? Okay, after passing turn left 7,000. 7,000 is the first one. 7,000 feet. The MSA is the highest 2,700, and extra fuel is 11.9 tons. This is not correct. Let's see where the mistake is. 128.3 is the trip fuel. Okay, this trip is 140, 647. I don't know how he's calculating it here. 128.3. So this is not accurate. 140 is 12 tons. So we have, no extra fuel at all. Yeah, this is correct. So the trip fuel is not correct, even though we don't have any step climbs in there. So he's doing it all the time with flight over 300. Very strange. Okay. But the fuel is sufficient, everything is fine here. Okay, this is the part of the pilot monitoring. Now the pilot flying. So thank you very much. We do taxi out here. We are at our position at the international terminal. We are pushing face to the south, and I think we will go via Gulf and Alpha, I think, holding short 07. This is the first hotspot. And then we get the crossing clearance and go straight down on Alpha down to 34 left, Alpha 6, holding point full length, 434 left. And the fade procedure is straight ahead 1500, and then we are climbing, I would say, 3,000 feet, then we are safe all around. And return considerations, radar vectors for return here, 34 left. We activate the secondary, everything is inserted, and we come back with a big overweight landing. So the A340-600 has 265 tons of max landing weight. This is well exceeded with 372, so we have the option to jettison fuel. Otherwise, if we are burning, if we have fire, we have to return immediately. Then we have to kill the bird and bring it to the ground, even with 370 tons. It's certified for max takeoff weight, but if we have the chance, we go over the ocean and dump some fuel. Okay, so specials. The only special is that we stream and we talk more than we do normally here, so it takes a little longer. Threats are it's a long time ago. Then we flew with the Airbus. I had holidays, and in the holidays I flew the 747-200. So just let us concentrate on the procedures and do everything by the book. Roger. Then the RTO. We have a critical takeoff today because we have only 100 meters of stop margin. This is really a critical takeoff, so everything is coming which is not absolutely affecting our flight path or flying the bird, we take into the air. Because really in the high speed regime an RTO is really critical because of the really narrow margin with the stop margin and the runway. Okay, that's it. Any questions? No questions. Okay, so load sheet is signed, everything is fine, everybody is happy. The ramp agent is receiving the copy of the load sheet. We start the APU. Refueling is finished, so we switch on the seatbelt signs and we close the left entry door. So let's wait until the APU is started. Also green procedure to start the APU as late as possible. Now it's available. APU bleed is on. We disconnect the ground power. Ground for cockpit. Go ahead. You can remove the external power and we're ready anytime. Can we remove the chocks as well? Well, you can remove the chocks. Thank you very much. Alright, so this is it. Ramp agent is gone, the door is closed. The jetway is on the way to be removed. So now we request startup. Let's see if Sydney is maybe online here with VATSIM. Nobody there. Everybody's sleeping still in Australia. Okay, so we just simulated request clearance. Sydney delivery, good morning. Stevens 1 International Terminal, request clearance destination Dubai. Stevens 1, you cleared destination Dubai via the KDOM 1 departure, climb by the set 7,000 feet and squawk 2551. Stevens 1 cleared destination Dubai, KDOM 1 departure, climb by the set 7,000 feet and squawk 2551. Stevens 1 readback is correct. Are you fully ready? I affirm fully ready. Okay, startup is approved for pushback contact ground 122.8. Okay, startup is approved for pushback 122.8 Stevens 1. Okay, so the beacon is on. Now that we had completed the briefing, cockpit preparation checklist. Gear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity. 151,940, so 152 tons ordered, 60 less, and it's well balanced. Aircraft status checked and released. This is from maintenance. We have to have always a released to get going, to make sure that maintenance checked the aircraft, that there's no open hill item or tech item which is not solved or written off. So this is the very important thing that we got an aircraft release. This is done electronically. Seatbelts on ADRIS. Also very important to see if there's no movement. Okay, this is nav on BaraRAF. QNH 1021. QNH 1021 cockpit preparation checklist complete. Okay, so then
ground to cockpit. Toast driving up right now.
request pushback. Ground, good morning, Stevens 1 Heavy at the International Terminal, request pushback. Condor, Stevens 1, good morning, pushback is approved, face to the south. Push approved, face to the south, Stevens 1. Very good. Okay, so then pushback clearance, green procedure over. Fuel pumps are on before start checklist. Parking brake is set. Takeoff speeds and thrust. V1 168.
Hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
VR 179, V2 184, and flex 45. V1 168, VR 179, and V2 184, flex 45. Windows closed, beacon on. And EFB mobiles, flight mode, before start check is complete. Okay. 6 minutes late. Whatever. $14 hours, 6 minutes.
So connected and bypass pin inserted. Release the parking brake when you're ready.
Parking brakes released, ready for pushback face to the south.
Alright, starting the pushback, and you may spool them. Clear to start engine.
Roger. So we would like to start engine sequence 1, 2, and 3 and 4. Starting engines 1 and 2. So we check 4 things. Fuel pumps, APU bleed is on. We have bleed pressure, 34, and very important, no Swiss steering disconnect for the push. Yeah, you may wonder that we start 2 engines combined at a time, so at sea level airports this is possible, depends on the procedure of the airline. Some do it, some don't. Lufthansa is not doing it. They start the engines one after another, but on higher airports like Bogota or similar, you do it, you don't have enough bleed pressure. You do it one by one. Okay, so this is the first part, starting engines 3 and 4. Sydney traffic, Stevens 1 is pushing back on International Terminal for departure runway 34 left. Okay, I just blocked that out, but I think that was the parking brake. Parking brake set, remove towing system and steering pin.
Alright mate, disconnecting tows, standby.
Okay, engine start completed, available lights. So normally we would disconnect the or shut down the APU, but with our airline we have a new procedure right now to make a pack on APU takeoff. So we keep the APU on. So CM2, but non-flying is doing the items. Ground for cockpit. Go ahead. Good engine start, clear to disconnect, give hand signal. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. See you next time, next year.
I was disconnected, bypass pin removed. Thumbs up on the left and catch you next time. Have a safe flight.
Thank you. Okay. we have 2.9 up. This is correct. So now we have to wait until we get the clear signal. Then we make the after start checklist. Okay. There's the clear signal. Thank you very much. After start checklist. Anti-ice off. ECAM status checked. Pitch trim 27.6%. Rudder trim neutral. After start check is complete. Okay, flight control check. Normally on the procedures with Airbus, you have to do it on taxi, during the taxi, but you also are allowed alternatively to do it after the after start items before you start taxiing, because on airfields where it's really congested and very heavy to follow, it's better to complete it right away and you can concentrate on taxi. So, flight control check. Full up. Full down. Neutral. Full left. Full right. Neutral. Rudder. Rudder check, do it slowly because you have really a big rudder down there. And if you do it too fast, could be damaged. So the same with the pilot monitoring. Yes, also make a flight control check, but this time it's silently. And no rudder this side. Okay, so request taxi. Siemens 1, a request taxi. Siemens 1, taxi to runway 34 left via Golf Alpha, hold short runway 07. Golf Alpha holding short of 07 Condor, Stevens 1. Sydney traffic, Stevens 1 is taxiing to runway 34 left via Golf and Alpha. Okay, so clear left, clear right. Here we go. Brake check. Pressure 0. Okay, so this we do left. Okay, I see an aircraft over there. So car Stevens 1 continue to via hotel holding short Alpha. Via hotel holding short Alpha Stevens 1. Because I don't want to be nose in like I had it already today in Los Angeles. So we check that we have not more than 10 knots ground speed in a 90 degrees turn. This is a limitation. Okay, this pilot monitoring is doing his items because the flight control checks. This is the trigger. It's already done. But the checklist, the next trigger for the taxi checklist is the cabin report. The cabin report is not received, otherwise it would be on the memo panel in the upper ECA. Stevens 1, cross runway 07, continue via Alpha, and Alpha 6 holding point, runway 34 left. Crossing of runway 07 approved in Alpha, continue via Alpha, Alpha 6 holding point, runway 34 left, Stevens 1. Okay, so 12 knots, 10 knots, here we go. Strobes on. Left side is clear. Right side is clear. Still Zato. Qantas 330. Wonderful airplane. You gotta be kidding me. What's that? The MD-80? Or Boeing 717? I have no idea. Don't have an idea that Qantas has MD airplanes. Still. We are pretty heavy. Oh well, cabin is ready. There it is, upper ecam. Cabin ready. This is our trigger for the taxi checklist, so please go ahead. Flight controls, checked. Flap setting, config 2. Radar and predictive wind shear system on and auto. Engine start selector, norm, ecam memo. Takeoff, no blue. Cabin, ready. Taxi check is complete. And traffic. Qantas. Okay, Alpha 6, we switch to departure charge. Stevens 1, contact tower 122.8. 122.8, so long, Stevens 1. Tower, good morning. Stevens 1 Heavy, approaching Alpha 6, ready for departure. Stevens 1, line up runway 34 left. Lining up runway 34 left, Stevens 1. Okay, so. Cabin crew, prepare for departure. So, reducing to 10 knots again. Okay, projector is clear. Runway 34 left. Line up checklist. Takeoff runway 34 left, Alpha 6. Runway 34 left, Alpha 6. TCAS, T-A-R-A. PAX 1 and 2 on APU. Line check is complete. So we are very long, 76 meters. So we really have to be on the edge of the runway when we line up to get the nose on the center line. You see, still, it's not enough. Unbelievable. Stevens 1, the wind is 305 knots, runway 34 left, clear for takeoff. Runway 34 left, clear for takeoff, Stevens 1, thank you. Okay, so 151.3, this means 700 kilos of taxi fuel. This is just accurate, almost the thing we calculated. Everybody ready. Timing, lights, takeoff. Manflex 45. SAS runway auto thrust blue. Checked. Thrust set. .100 knots. Checked. Rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Gear up. Enough. Checked. Wow. That was a heavy takeoff. Woo. There is Sydney. Stevens 1, contact departure 122.8. Have a good flight. 122.8, Stevens 1, thank you, bye bye. Departure, good morning, Stevens 1 Heavy out of 1,400, climbing 7,000. Stevens 1, good morning, climb flight level 180. Climbing flight level 180, Stevens 1. Okay. Thrust climb alt blue, auto thrust, 18,000 blue. Checked. Flaps 1, speed checked, flaps 1. So the automatic retraction of flaps 1 after 220 knots with the Airbus 340-600. On the A330 it's already at 200 knots. Right now we see the flap retraction speed, the S speed, is above our speed limit of 250 knots, but we just do accelerate over the 250 to get the aircraft clean. So see, I go a little below the flight directors right now, passing the S speed, flap 0, speed checked, flap 0, and you see the speed target automatically goes 250 or green dot, whichever is the higher. So this time, in this case, it's higher, it's over 260, green dot. Okay, so we are clean, APU bleed off. And APU off. Lights. Okay, we are on our way. Yeah, that was a heavy takeoff, absolutely. And you see the V1 was pretty late, but I think it was sufficient to bring the aircraft to a stop. But hey, you really have to react fast on high speed. So in doubt, just take it into the air if it's possible, and then try to organize yourself, check everything, burn fuel, and then land on a long runway and not on the rest of the one you try to stop on. Okay, nothing fancy here, only straight away, so autopilot 1 is on. So you see on the engine warning display in the memo panel, APU available is still there. You see still the available light. We could recover the APU now. This is the cooldown period when we have the APU bleed on, about maximum 120 seconds. And once this is completed, we can switch on the APU page. You see this is still available, but I think in a couple of seconds the AV light will extinguish. Right now you see the RPM is decreasing, it's going down. APU is shutting down, and it's good to do it below flight level 150 due to a limitation of the APU, but we are well below, just over 8,000 feet. So I just watch if the flap is closing. Right now the flap is still open, now it's closed, so we can close the page. Everything's fine now. So, passing 10,000 feet, we are accelerating, and this is the transition altitude. Set standard. And the pilot monitoring replies, standard cross-check, passing level 102 now. Alright, so, lights off, seatbelts auto. Airport instead of constraint, and you can clear the rad nav, secondary copy active, and clear the fixed info page. Secondary copy active, so all of our preparation work is vanished. Fixed info, so we did not have any emergency on departure, so we can copy active the secondary just to have the same one, then the active flight plan, and then we can do it if we have to divert wherever. We can do it all over again, but we don't have an immediate return for which the secondary was programmed and prepared. Well, we look to our estimate for Dubai. This means 12 UTC means 1 o'clock PM German time. Right now it's 11:30 PM. Yeah, quite some time. Series 1 climb flight level 250. Series 1 climb flight level 250. Flight level 250 blue. Check. So let's see what our first cruising altitude is. 300. So Series 1, continue climb flight level 300. Climbing flight level 300. Flight level 300 blue. Our cruise blue, flight level 300 blue. Checked. So this, in the PFT you can see that this is the cruise level because we don't have alt in blue, we have alt cruise blue. So now you see that this is our cruising level. So let's see the proc page. Cruise level is 300. And optimal is 295, so a little lower, and the maximum recommended is 348. Okay, we will see. So now approaching Cadam. There you go. This completes our SID. Cadam should be after 11 minutes. Yeah, could be, could be. Still 2 miles to go. All right, over at Cadam, switching 10 minutes. And 146.7. 146.3 we should have, so we are plus 400 kilos. That's great. Well, we are on our way. Oh. Well, still 14 hours to go. See. So we see wingtip, the outer engine. Very nice livery, very nice aircraft. The hell is up there? Just see that now. Maybe we don't have anything loaded in there. We have 10 tons of cargo. I'm not sure if the switch has to be off. I don't think so. Nice weather over Australia. So, we just crossed Australia completely, I think. Let's see. A little mountainous here. And flat afterwards. Big country. A continent. So what is really interesting here is to see what are the closest airports for possible diversion airports. Closest airports is in the data page, and you see these are the closest airports. Farthest away is 55 miles. But there's no guarantee that is sufficient for this aircraft, so you really have to check it in your EFB if this airport has sufficient runway length, pavement, and firefighting categories, handling categories, whatever. So normally in the airlines you have suitable airport list or adequate airport list and emergency fields where you can immediately see which airport you can go without checking and which airports are just emergency fields if you have no other solution or chance to get anywhere else. You still can land there. And if the airport is not listed, you cannot do anything there because it's not sufficient for your aircraft type. So on the data index page you have also equal time point, and you see right now you have Sydney and Dubai, departure and descent aerodrome. But I would like to do it with Perth, because if we get a problem, I would like to see if we have, which is the longer way, to return to Sydney or to go to Perth. So I take the present wind. This is 261 with 19. For both airports, because I would like to have the equal time point. So once calculated, you have it on the ND, written down with ETP. Just a visual sign where you have this point. Okay, so approaching flight level 300. To go. Shit. Mach Alt Cruise Star. Checked. Alt Cruise. Checked. Okay, this is done. We are on our cruising altitude after 22 minutes. This is pretty good with this weight. Yeah. So the coordinate, which is our two-way point right now, is the calculated top of climb of the OFP. Pretty accurate. So let's see, we have 16 miles to PKS, our next fuel checkpoint. The wind should be 274 with 27. Yeah, almost. 255. Yeah, what is morning in Sydney is late in the evening or in night in Germany. We have 22:45 UTC. That means 15 minutes to midnight in Germany. So I will make this fuel check PKS, and thereafter I will do my rest time to return afterwards, and tomorrow morning or tomorrow at noon we estimate at what did we say, 13:24 right now, so yeah, I think an hour before I will go streaming online again for the second part of our long-haul flight into Dubai. PKS 25 minutes. 25 minutes. That's great. Fuel is 142.760, so 142.8 I would say. 142.7. Unbelievable. This is really accurate. 142.7, 142.7 in 25 minutes. This is accurate. Great, okay, that's it. So, with these pictures, we are going offline. I hope you enjoyed it so far. This is part 1 of 2. So, have a good night wherever you are. Hope you enjoyed the stream with the original Airbus procedure on the Toliss Airbus A340-600 with an XPlane 12 under the VR. The VR, by the way, is the Oculus Rift S. And hope you enjoyed it. So, see you tomorrow with the second part of this flight. Thank you, bye-bye.